Are you tired of getting destroyed in middle games? Do you want to know how to master middle games and destroy their entire family? Then this video is for you. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know in middle games. Doesn't matter what your ELO is. This is going to train your brain to think like a master. If you pay full attention to this video, you will rewrite the entire chess history. Also, you will get extra 2 inches to your D. Let's get started. Look at this position. This pawn is hanging and you have multiple ways to capture it. Before you destroy it with a random piece, you gotta think. How would you capture this pawn? Pause the video and think. When you capture this pawn, you are going to develop a piece. So which piece would have the most advantages in this square? If you take it with the rook, this file is still closed and it can't move anywhere. If we take with the bishop, these diagonals are closed and can't move forward. This bishop is pretty much just a pawn here. But if you take with the knight, it can control these 2 squares on their side. So then let's take the knight, right? Wrong. We have to calculate what happens next. Our opponent knows that taking with the knight is better for us. So he will try to trade our knights like this, and we no longer have that knight advantage. So we take with the bishop. If they try to trade now, we will end up with a knight. In the game, Black got mad and wanted to remove the knight. He played rook f4 attacking this knight. And this is where you need to oversmart them again. While they are so busy trying to remove our knight, let's see what else we can do. Here White plays knight g5 defending the knight and threatening to fork the queen. If they take ignoring this, White has a brilliant move. Queen takes rook. Not only they lose a rook, but also a bishop. So Black moves the queen controlling this square. But that's not going to help. Here, White plays a brilliant move to finish the game. Pause the video and try to find it. I'm going to show it. The move is that the queen takes rook. The queen has to move and can't control this square anymore. But yes, the queen can go to safety without getting forked. But here's the surprise, knight f7 is checkmate. Now look at this game. Here we are going to make a plan. He is attacking our knight with the light square bishop. And I'm thinking that would be a great trade for me, because after the trade his light squares become weak. And I'm looking at this square that I'm controlling with a pawn. So if I can remove their defenders that can control this square and bring my knight here, that would be really strong. I know what you think, they can just trade knights. Well, they shouldn't trade knights, because I will get a passed pawn, which is more dangerous than a knight. So that looks like a great plan. White plays h3, pushing them to trade the bishop for the knight. Black trades the bishop. Now there's only one defender left. So White trades his dark square bishop for that knight. Okay. Now all we have to do is get our knight to here. How can we do that? Calculate it backwards. From what square you can get to here? From here. Of course there's more, but we need to choose a safe one. So from where we can get here? From here. From where we can get here? From here. There you go, we found the quickest way to do it. In the game, White plays exactly that. That knight is controlling some crucial squares on their side. And it is attacking the queen. The queen moves back. Then White plays queen to e2. He is going to put pressure on these weaknesses. So Black has to defend it with the king. Rook d1, just developing the rook. Black plays rook f7. Now we need to plan what to do from here. We need to find a way to attack these weak pawns and open up the king. Also, you have to realize that our bishop is bad. It is blocked. Their queen is looking at this diagonal. So we can't bring our queen. If we can control that diagonal with our bishop and kick out their queen, that would be great. But at the moment we can't do any of that. Okay, let's find a way to create an attack. What if we push this pawn? Take, and their king is still safe. That doesn't work. What if we push this pawn? Trying to play h5 to attack this pawn. If they take, we take back and their king is open. But they can also push. But that would create weakness. Since we can control light squares, that's good for us. And now we can put our king here to play bishop h3. So that's why whites did play this move in the game. Black plays h5 stopping the pawn because they don't want to weaken the position like I showed you. After bishop h3 black has to move the queen. You might be wondering why is playing nothing moves. Well, because our plan is so good. They can't do anything. And here white has a great move, try to find it if you want. The move is bishop e6, and the rook is trapped. Then white traded the other rook as well, because now they can't defend the king with a rook. So few moves later, white got close to the black king and black resigned. In level 1, we are going to learn how to find good moves in a position. Here white starts with d4. We have lots of options here, but let's go with the most simple move d5. Just looking to develop pieces. No complications. f3, this is a bad move because it's blocking the most natural square for this knight, and also it opens up this diagonal which makes the white king really weak. So instead of pushing pawns, let's develop this knight while defending this pawn. e4. Now you have to think, what's the idea behind that move? It opens up this diagonal for the bishop and the pawn is attacking our pawn. We can take the pawn, also we can just ignore it and do something else. So we have to calculate what happens after each option. If we take the pawn, they take it back and we win a pawn. And their king side is even weaker now. Looks like a good move, but wait, we are not done calculating. Now let's see what happens when we don't take. They can take the pawn and we can take back, but also they can push the pawn to attack the knight. Knight has 3 moves and all of them make the position worse. So we can't let them push, we have to take this pawn. But 90% of beginners would let them push the pawn sometimes, because they are too lazy to think and calculate like this. Bishop d3. Attacking the knight and developing the bishop. Good move, we can defend the knight which doesn't look strong, also we can move the knight back. But mother farmers see a genius move here. Can you find it? The move is queen takes pawn while defending the knight. If you found this move, congratulations. You are officially stupid. Your IQ is probably lower than your bank balance. Because this is the worst move in the position, it's a blunder. White can play bishop b5 check winning the queen. Here black plays bishop f5 defending the knight. This is actually a blunder, because the queen can attack both pieces and you lose a piece. Bringing knight back is the best move. But guys, black is a chess master and white is a lower-rated player. h3, looking to attack the bishop. But we can just move the bishop back and still defend the knight. If they push further, we can handle that too. So we don't have to worry about the move g5. In fact, that move weakens their kingside, which is why we want him to play g5. So we can play f6, opening the diagonal for the queen. Black played f7 because he is a master and doesn't mind losing a pawn. And white fell for the trap. Now it's mate in 2 for black. Queen h4 check. King has only 2 moves and both of them lead to queen f2 checkmate. Now look at this game, this time the master is playing white. e4 d5. Takes and knight c3 attacking the queen. I hate when black plays this. I have like 100% winning percentage against this opening by black. Queen e5 check, white blocks with the bishop. Bishop g4 attacking this one more time. Sometimes they play queen g5 attacking this pawn, thinking you have to go back. But you can play bishop f3 defending this and putting pressure on this. If they move the bishop, rook is trapped. Then they gives a check again, thinking you have to move back. But now we just develop our knight and our king is ready to castle next move. And they haven't moved anything. Queen in the middle of the board to make it worse. At least this guy has more brain cells than those who play like that. Black is attacking this 2 times, but we are defending it 4 times so we don't have to worry. So white moves a pawn attacking the queen and opening up the diagonal for this bishop. Queen moves back. Now we can attack the queen again, but remember, unnecessary pawn moves make the position bad. It will be hard to defend this pawn if we push it. Queen can just move away, there's no real danger. So white plays bishop e3, simply developing a piece. Also defending this pawn. Then players trade bishops. Black plays queen c6, attacking this pawn, which is a terrible move. All he does is moving the queen here and there. White develops the knight. Queen b6 attacking this pawn. White castles. And when they have to move the queen, they decide to move something else. White moves the pawn and it's a discover check on the queen. And after all of that, black blunders the queen. This shows exactly why you are blundering. Simply because you are not thinking. Now let's move to level 2. In level 2, we are paying attention to their plans. The master is back with the black pieces. White starts with c4 and black replies with e5. c4 opens up this diagonal. e3 from white, opening up the diagonals for both queen and bishop. But e4 is a better move. So far it's just developing moves. e3. That move doesn't open up the path to any pieces. So you have to think, what is the idea behind that move? That pawn is controlling this square. Now our knight can't go there. Okay, what else? They can also play b4 to start an attack on this side. Also, they might be waiting for you to develop your bishop so they can attack it right away. So the chess master saw all of this and played a6. Why did he play a6? Because he is going to play bishop c5 and bishop a7. He wants to keep the bishop on this diagonal, that's a part of his plan. White plays knight e2 blocking these pieces and it can't even go forward. But wait, we still have to ask questions. Why did he play that move? What is he trying to do? What's the idea behind that move? That knight is controlling these squares, so white can play d4 or f4 attacking this pawn. Is it bad for us? Well, this pawn is currently protected by the knight, so it's okay. Black develops the bishop. White develops the other knight. That knight can jump into the middle, so we have to be careful. At the moment it's not a big threat, but you need to find a way to stop it. Because you don't want their knight here, it's annoying. Black plays d6, protecting this pawn one more time and opening up the diagonal for the bishop. Knight g3. Why did he play that? That knight can go here, but that doesn't threaten anything. Can go here, but we are controlling that square. Also, it can go here attacking our bishop, and it is protected by the other knight. But we can move the bishop away and play f5 attacking that knight. So black develops the knight here controlling this square, and he can still play f5. White attacks the bishop and black moves it back as he planned. Bishop b2 developing the bishop, and you can see the idea. If black castles this side, white will try to open up this diagonal and snipe the king side. But if black castles this side, white will push all the pawns to open up the king, which is why black castles this side. And black should try to keep this diagonal closed as long as he can. White develops the bishop looking to castle on the next move. Black plays f5, preventing the move knight e4 and opening up diagonals to pieces. White castles on this side and black plays f4, trying to launch an attack quickly. Because in this position, if you wait, they are going to attack you everywhere. White can either take or move the knight, but white is a lower-rated player. So he blunders the knight in one move. After g6, knight has nowhere to go. So white gives up the knight and just takes a pawn. Now black can capture the knight, but wait. We need to see what happens after that. After you take the knight, queen comes here threatening checkmate in one. Can we stop that? We can block with the bishop. We have two pieces defending it. They only have two attackers, and that's not enough because they will lose the queen. If they don't take, we can take their bishop, they can give a check. But it doesn't change anything. So it is good for black. That's why he took the knight. And white plays knight e4, trying to bring in another attacker. Black can't give away the bishop for the knight because this is too strong. Also now we can see white is about to open up this diagonal for the other bishop, which looks deadly. So black has to stop that first. Bishop d4, trying to trade that bishop. and white has to take it because black will take it on the next move anyway. Then white plays g4 attacking this bishop, and that's a huge blunder. Black plays knight f3 forking the queen, and that's how it ends. Now let's move to level 3. In level 3 we are learning how to find tactics. Some of you might have already seen this game. For those who haven't seen it, get ready to watch one of the most beautiful tactics in the entire chess history. In this position white took this pawn because if black takes back, white can trade queens while attacking 2 pieces. And this is a good position for white. That's some little tactic, but that's not the point. In this position white plays b5 attacking the bishop, and now it's time for you to find a tactic. This is a position where you have multiple attacking pieces against a weak king. And they don't have enough pieces in the middle. These are the best positions to look for 2-3 move sacrificing tactics. So think, what if we sacrifice a piece here? If we sacrifice the knight, we get 2 pawns with a check. And it looks really bad for the black king. The best move would be blocking with the knight, and now we have 2 pins. Black is under lots of pressure here. And you can bring more attackers. So that's why white did play this in the game. If they defend with the rook, take takes, and you can bring another attacker. Now this rook is undefended. There's only one way to defend this rook. The queen has to move away so the knight can defend it. And here white finds a beautiful tactic. It's a forced mate. Push the video and try to find the move. Here's a tip: you have to calculate the worst moves in the position to find a brilliant move. Okay, I'm going to show you the move. This is queen b8 check, sacrificing the queen, and the rook d8 is checkmate. Bishop and rook control all squares and the king can't move. Here's another position where you have multiple attacking pieces and a weak king. King in the middle uncastled. This is where you find awesome tactics. Now think, how can we attack that king? Are there any checks? Well, yes, but we are just going to loose the piece. But that will leave this king unsafe forever, and we are getting some attack. So white sacrificed the knight to get this position. Black is trying to get the full advantage from this open file, and that looks dangerous. This knight is hanging. 2 bishops are ready to snipe. So was that sacrifice a mistake? Well, the problem for black is that he is playing against one of the best attackers of all time. His name is Adolf Anderssen, and he is no different to Adolf Hitler. So he says, your attack sucks, and plays rook d1. Sacrificing the second knight, this pawn is pinned by the way. And now black is threatening mate in different ways, and you can't stop both. But of course, white won this by checkmate. Push the video and try to find the winning tactic for white. Losing 2 knights isn't enough for Adolf Anderssen. So he sacrificed the rook. Black takes with the knight, opening up the diagonal for the bishop. But Adolf Anderssen feels like he hasn't sacrificed enough materials, which is why he played queen d7 sacrificing the queen. King has to take, otherwise it's mate in 1. And double check. If king goes here, bishop d7 is checkmate, and look at how ugly this is. So the king goes here and white still plays bishop d7. King moves and bishop e7 is yet another disgusting checkmate. Black filed a case against Adolf Anderssen for harassment, and that is very understandable. I hope you learned something in this video. If you want to learn how to become a strong Caro-Kann player, watch this video.